A very good afternoon, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time out and joining us for the 43rd Annual General Meeting of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry held for the first time on this very unique three-dimensional platform. My name is Priyank Prakash, and on behalf of the Chamber, I'm pleased to be the Master of Ceremony for today's program. And now, to mark the beginning of IFCCI's 43rd AGM, I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Sumit Anand, President of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry and founder of Insight, to share the welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Priyank. Her Excellency, Madame Sonia Barbary, Consul General of France in Mumbai, Her Excellency, Madame Dr. Marjorie S. Van Bellingham, Consul General of France in Bangalore, our distinguished speakers from France and India, a great list today, Mr. Hemant Kanodia, Chairman of SHRAI, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Khara, Managing Director, State Bank of India, Mr. Fatih Jerfel, Deputy CEO of Amundi, Ms. Namita Shah, President, People and Social Responsibility at Total, Mr. Jérôme Rodriguez, CEO of AREMO France, Mr. Alain Papias, Chairman, Corporate and Institutional Banking, BNP Paribas, Mr. Laurent Follop, Commercial and Marketing Director, Haropa Ports, Mr. Marc Pasquet, President Michelin, Africa, India and Middle East, Mr. Jean-Marc Boudin, Senior Vice President, Middle East, Africa and India, Thales, Mr. Anil Chaudhary, our friend, Country President and MD, Schneider Electric India, Nirav Nanavati, CEO and Country Manager, NG, our special moderator for today, my dear friend and senior journalist and media entrepreneur, Govind Rajathiraj, dear members and guests. I am pleased to welcome you all to the 43rd Annual General Meeting of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Chambre de Commerce d'Industrie, France and. We are in a virtual format today, as our world has come unsettled these past 6 months due to the deadly pandemic of COVID-19. I hope that you and your dear ones at home and at work and at home and at work are safe and healthy. Sadly, we all know of loved ones who've lost their lives due to COVID-19. Therefore, before we go any further, I would request all of us to observe 10 seconds of silence to pay our respect to them. Thank you. We're currently facing a second surge in both France and India, and so we need to stay cautious and follow the health guidelines. Yet while we stay cautious and healthy, we also need to be active. In order to serve our societies at large, we need to build our businesses back and get our economies, both Indian and French, on track for a brighter future. In the short term, April 20 to March 21, India is facing its first recession ever. Yet since the severe lockdown in the quarter of April to June, we are seeing steady month-on-month demand recovery, and we should be at pre-COVID levels by the quarter of Jan to March 2021. And at the same time, we're discovering new business opportunities in India, backed by tech, such as e-commerce, edtech, and fintech, to name just a few. And others are emerging from supply chain shifts in sectors such as pharma and chemicals, electronics and technology services. Starting from April next year, we should see a strong rebound in consumption, and India will return to its fast-growing economy status. In my personal view, the upcoming decade, 2020-2030, will still be India's best decade ever in terms of new market opportunities for our businesses, given that the fundamental drivers of the Indian economy remain strong and India is well aligned to benefit from the global shifts. We will talk about these subjects through the AGM today. Today's annual general meeting is very special and exciting. While some of us miss the format of our grand evening held at the Sofitel in Mumbai with champagne, food, and some good social interaction, we are hopeful that you will find today's AGM richer, inclusive, and more insightful. We have an address by our honorary patron, His Excellency Ambassador Emmanuel Luna. We have outstanding speakers from top leadership of groups from France and India, and the largest audience ever at an AGM, close to 600 registered. And all of this in this fabulous new 3D format. At this point, I'd like to thank the entire IFCCI team, led by our Director General, Mrs. Payal S. Kanwar, and our regional directors, Bruno Broncard and Johan Samuel, and events manager, Tracy Fernandez, for taking on the challenge and working very hard to organize this special and unique AGM. I'd also like to thank our governing council members, as well as our executive committee members, our 5 vice presidents, Emmanuel the Rockfai, Emeric the Renyes, Ravin Mirchandani, Elisa Ketty, and Joel Verani, and our treasurer, Francesca De Cuper, for their involvement today at the annual general meeting, and most importantly, for their support and engagement to the chamber all through the year. At this AGM, we're starting a new tradition of defining a business topic as a theme. The 2020 theme defines the India opportunity today for all our businesses and lays a potential framework for Franco-Indo-French business relations. And here is the topic. Can India be a global market and a global hub for manufacturing for international groups and particularly French groups? The time to discuss this topic seems just right, as India marks nearly 30 years of reforms and continues to reform, as we have seen this past week with the key agri and labor reforms. As India has increasingly proven to be a key global market, a key hub for talent, and now a potential key hub for manufacturing for India and the world. And as France in the last 5 years has become the most attractive economy in Europe and is actively supporting its large, mid, and startup companies and entrepreneurs to compete and succeed internationally. And most importantly, as France and India, over these last 20 years of strategic partnership, have emerged as close friends who share common values and who want to partner for win-win solutions for their citizens and for a new world. Make in India, Fab France, Startup India, La French Tech, Atmanirbhar, Self-Reliant India, the French relaunch plan, just a few examples that represent many opportunities to collaborate and win together. We could conclude that the time is right to discuss such a theme, both despite COVID-19 and yet due to COVID-19. The AGM also marks the end of a year for the Chamber. In our case, from April 2019 to March 2020 as a financial year, and the end of the year of activity since our last AGM when we all met together, or some of us did in Bombay. 2019-20 was a very good year for the Indo-French Chamber. On the financial front, I'm pleased to share that revenues, surplus, and reserves all hit a new high. Compared to 5 years ago, IFCCI has grown its revenues by 80% and built a sustainable economic model, which is critical for a self-funded chamber. On the activities front, the number of events, members, committees, services, and clients are at a record high in 1920 and have grown significantly since the last 5 years. Big congratulations to all of you, members, clients, sponsors, and to our IFCCI team led by our dynamic Director General, Mrs. Payal S. Kanwar, for this outstanding performance. A special thanks to His Excellency, Ambassador Emmanuel Luna, for his strong support to the Chamber, and a big thanks to all his team members, the SCR team led by Minister Councillor Daniel Maitre and his deputy Patrick Pion, the Council Generals, Madame Sonia Barbary, Madame Dr. Marjorie Van Bellingham, excuse me, Madame Catherine Suar, outgoing, Business France, now led by the Trade Commissioner Eric Fajol, AFD led by Bruno Ball, and the CCF led by our member and new president Pascal Risser. This is what we refer to as Team France in India. Our dynamic IFCCI team, a good financial base, and all your support has given the Chamber the strength to face a challenging COVID-19 year. The team transitioned very quickly and took the Chamber online, being available 24/7 to our members through the tough lockdown period and to attend to all their business issues. Knowledge webinars, advocacy platforms, and solutions committee engagements were all kicked off. The team worked hard to reduce costs, adjust priorities, and manage cash flows. While 2021 will not be a great year financially for IFCCI, as is the case for many chambers worldwide, IFCCI will emerge stronger with a new way of serving our members. Bravo again to the entire IFCCI team, led by Payal, our DG, the entire working committee, and in particular to Jyotsna Rao, National Accounts Manager, to our Treasurer, Francesca De Cuper, and our Advisor, K. Ramachandar, for their commitment to manage our finances in this critical period. At last year's AGM, I had laid out 3 priorities for the upcoming 2-year period. The first was to go further as a chamber to serve our members, making our committee stronger, expanding our advocacy platforms, and building our services in the South. The second was to deepen our France-India links, work closely with His Excellency Ambassador Luna, the embassy and the consulates, led by their respective consul generals, and be an active member of Team France, strengthen our relations with the Indian government, and serve interests in France as well. And the third was to build visibility of Indo-French business and IFCCI in India and in France. I'm glad to report that your chamber is making steady progress on all these three priorities, and I hope that some of those are visible to you. We will continue to focus on these in the coming year. But if you allow, in addition to these three priorities, I'd like to add two more priorities for the chamber. Number 4, which is to develop data, knowledge, and insights to help accelerate trade and investment by French and Indian companies, to provide content to the conversation. And number 5, to articulate a 2025 vision for the chamber, laying out what impact we seek to have by then on French and Indian companies and trade and business relations. So a lot to do and a lot to look forward to for all of us. Before I end, I'd like to welcome the 10 new elected members of the Governing Council. We had a great number of candidates this year, and I'm so happy and excited by the quality of our Governing Council. We will be hosting our meeting next month, and there'll be 25 of us in that, and it can be surely very exciting. I look forward to working with you all, along with our IFCCI team and the Executive Committee, to build IFCCI further. With that, dear members, distinguished speakers and guests, I welcome you again for the 43rd AGM of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, CCI France, and I hope you enjoy this special evening.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you our very own ambassador to France in India, His Excellency, Mr. Emmanuel Luna. Mr. Luna has had a diplomatic career spanning for more than 2 decades that had him serving in France, the United States, China, and now in India since the past 1 year. Mr. Luna has helped IFCCI tremendously since his arrival in India in his various initiatives and activities. We thank you for your continued support toward the Chamber, Mr. Ambassador, your team at the Embassy, at Consulates. Finally, I would like to give you a thanks for your support for IFCCI committees. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, but I don't have anything to add to these kind words. I think it's perfectly fine. No, seriously, I want first to congratulate the newcomers that have been elected, and I must say that it's a very good rule to elect 1/3 of a member every year. I think other organizations should take that as a model, and I think it also accounts for part of your dynamism, which is clearly recognized. Want also to thank your chairman, president, summit, and your DG Payal. I understand it's the first anniversary of the mandate of summit, and I must say that I'm truly impressed by the dynamism, the good work, the action of the committees, and I must say that in respect, I mean, first part of the year when I've been able to travel extensively to India, I've met some committees, I've been impressed by the ideas, the input in places like Chennai, for example, and very good meetings. But I must say that since COVID is with us and will obviously stay with us for a while, I've been very impressed by the capacity of IFCCI to adapt and to move to webinars, and which have always been of excellent quality. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for the good cooperation we've enjoyed. I mean, when I say we, the embassy, our consulate, Institut Français, Business France, all the partners. It's very important. It's great to have you and to achieve the common goals. As said, we know our priorities. We share our priorities. I discuss with Summit quite extensively and often. We want to be even more active, of course, to support French companies willing to develop in India. Personally, I'm very optimistic about the long-term prospect in India. I really think that there are huge opportunities and that our company shouldn't miss. I mean, the last few months have even made the future brighter for companies operating in digital or health sector. I'm not going to name all of this, but it's pretty obvious. We want also to be more active in supporting the companies by channeling Indian students who've been studying in France, to channel them to French companies in India if they want to employ them. As you know, I mean, this year is a bit tough for student exchanges, but it's not zero. It's not a blank year. We're going to end with a few thousand, which is quite a big performance. I mean, we've been the first country to work in the section, and that's very important because as next year we want to be back to where we were in 2019, and maybe up, with more than 10,000 students from India going to France. That's very important. So we'll do much more, and also the IFCCI will be very important to that. We feel that now that France is the most competitive country in Europe, we should attract some more investors from India to develop some activities. We have very good success stories in the last few months, but we could do much more. Obviously, some of these investors have to be found in London, but also in India. I think we have a huge role. Business France is doing a great job, but IFCCI also has to work with us. At the end of the year, by December, we should have a club for potential investors, and I'm sure IFCCI will take a big part into it, as it always does. And also, we will have an operation called Ambition India to explain the potential of the Indian market to the French companies. It take place on the December 1st in France. Maybe we don't know. I mean, maybe a physical meeting, or maybe online, or maybe a combination of both. But it's very important that we can add it. So thank you very much for inviting me. I'm looking forward now to the discussion, and thank you for the great job that you're all doing. Thank you. Great job that you're all doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.